life schooler. I am coming to you today to talk to you about calendar. I have been promising people that I was going to talk to you about calendar and kind of show you what it is and how to do it for a while, and I just have not had time. It's, holidays, family, life with 4 kids, and work, just all of it together has just been very challenging. But today I am going to do it. So anyhow, let's start off with what is calendar. Basically with calendar, you talk about the month, the day of the week, the date, the year. Sometimes you will talk about weather, maybe the season. All those things are your calendar time. There are lots of ways that you can extend calendar time to work on some like literacy concepts and math concepts, which is kind of what I'm going to show you today, how to do that. Calendar is really good for like preschool up through, really and truly up through like elementary. Any age can do it. And you can kind of level out what you're doing, okay? So anyhow, with calendar, it's a great way to practice time concepts with calendar because calendar, like the month, the day, yesterday, today, those kind of things are very difficult for young children to understand because with time you cannot hold it. It's not a math manipulative that you can hold it and you can put two and two together to make 4. You can't do that. It's something that comes with practice and maturity, and so it's just something that you just have to kind of expose them to every single day. It's not a lesson that you can just teach in 1 week and the kids automatically get it, okay? So it's just something that you just have to kind of work on. And doing it through calendar is a great way to work on those concepts. So anyhow, I'm going to show you how to do calendar, all right? Are you ready? Great. Let's talk about calendar for the emerging student. So an emerging student would be someone who has a good foundation on letter sounds, and they know the letter names, and they're starting to put them together to make words. With numbers, they know their numbers 1 through 10. They have a good idea of the value of all those, and they're starting to put them together with addition and then taking them apart with subtraction. So with those kids, you're going to spend a lot more time on calendar than you would with older children. Okay, so with your preschool kids and with your emerging kids, you're going to spend a little more time talking about the calendar. So with my emerging kids, I'm going to kind of pretend like you're my students. Okay, so I would start off with, okay, guys. So what month is it? You're right. It's February. February. Let's spell February. February. I may even have one of my children actually spell it for me. All right. And then we would go over the days of the week. And this is where like some songs would come into play. The month song, the Macarena month song. The days of the week. I really like Dr. Jean for that, and I actually think I have a link to some of her CDs and things like that on my website, which I will actually put the link to my calendar page on this post or on this video. So you're going to talk about the month and then the days of the week, and then we're going to figure out what this calendar piece is. So we're going to be detectives and we're going to figure it out. So I want to see if we can crack the code. Can we figure out what the color of the heart is going to be and what the number is going to be? So what do you think the color is going to be? Okay, so you said red. Let's see if you're right. So we're going to go back and we're going to go through the pattern and check and see if you think it's really going to be red. So red, red, pink, pink, 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 red, red. Okay, so I think it's going to be red too. I think we're going to be right. So what's the number going to be? Yesterday this number was 21. So what number do you think this is going to be? Oh, you think it's going to be 22? Well, let's find out. And then you would go back and you would actually count. And so we're going to be like, okay, so we said that the heart was going to be red, and we said that the number was going to be 22. Let's see if we're right. Oh, we are right. Look at that. So let's put our calendar piece on and let's go up. Oh, look here. Today is Monday. Monday. So it is February 22nd and today is Monday. So pretty much what I just did there is pretty much what we're going to do with the calendar. And from that, we're going to move on to extending it to bring in some literacy concepts and math concepts. If you have actually talked to me or if you are reading some stuff on my blog, I choose to do literacy on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and math on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And my husband and I made that choice to start doing that about 2 years ago because it really ended up working for us. I was struggling trying to get everything in, and we decided to just do a really good literacy day and a really good math day. And we just hit a bunch of concepts in both of those, and it has worked great for our family. So with that said, I am going to show you how, for the emerging student, how I would extend this calendar to do literacy concepts and then do some math concepts. So first up is going to be literacy. Okay guys, so literacy. So a big thing with literacy with emergent kids is I want to do some repetition. I want to model sentences that are correct, that they start with a capital letter and they end with punctuation. And I want to get in some of those words that we need to be practicing spelling and also with just in writing. So on my board, I would write today is February 22nd, 2021. It is Monday. It is rainy outside. So with this, I may even, so in the beginning with emergent kids, I would do this and we would read it together, and then I would have them copy it down onto their whiteboards. I really like the double-sided. This one is really filthy, so it's really old. I like the double-sided ones that have the lines and then have the blank space on the front. So as you can tell, we use these a lot. So this is how I would start out with my emerging kids. So then I would start to leave out things. I would perhaps leave the month out and the day, and I would put blanks in for them to fill in, because at that point, probably after maybe like a month or so, you can kind of tell whenever they start to get bored and they really just need a change, then you're going to want to change it up some. So you will probably want to take out some things. You could take out the month and the day of the week. You could take out the date. You could take out the whole thing if you wanted to. You could take out the weather if you have weather words that you can practice on. So this would be, to me, the next step. The thing after that, after they've practiced both of those for a little bit, they still need a change. And I still like to do this, but once again, we're working on concepts. So like at the beginning, we were working on modeling good sentences and then copy work and trying to do, penmanship and making letters and spacing and things like that. Okay. So with this, we're actually working on, spelling the words either by memory or copying it down, like using a resource, like where can I find the day of the week? Where can I find the month? So that way they're just not sitting there copying down everything I write down all the time. So you kind of want to start to get them to be independent. And then you can start to change it up a little bit where you are starting to work on some grammar concepts. So if you misspell it or do things that are wrong, so Today is February 22nd, 2021. And then you would do the same thing with the other ones. And you would say, oh my goodness, I made some mistakes. How can we fix it? And so then we would go through and we would talk about how, oh, it's missing a capital letter at the beginning. Is this misspelled? February needs a capital F. And we need punctuation at the end. So you can start working on some of those like very basic grammar concepts. So that way, whenever you actually get in to starting to write sentences and paragraphs and things like that, they are already introduced to it. You don't really have to do a huge lesson on capital letters at the beginning and punctuation at the end, because they're already introduced to it through calendar, through this, and through copywork. So, okay, so this would be that part. So then we want to have a little fun. So we may, some things that that emerging readers emerging kids are working on would be like CVC words. So you could write some words like cat, and you could tell them to give you 4 words that rhyme with cat. So we're changing, so we've got our at family here, and we're just changing the initial letter. So you can do that to give you, just to get in some little review and practice while you're already here and you're already working together on this. You already have your whiteboard out, so why not go ahead and get a little bit more in? And 2, if your kid's not into writing, they don't have to write. They can use magnets or stamps or something like that. So so that is one thing that you can do. You can also, if your child is ready for a little something else, something a little more challenging, you could do word ladders. And for this, you would want to start with modeling. You always want to start with modeling. Let them copy you. It's fine. There's not a grade, so let them copy you, and then let them help you, and then you do it yourself and give them an opportunity to do it. But it's okay if they copy you, because you want them to be able to rely on you until they feel independent enough. So let's take that word cat again. And we're just going to play with it, and we're just going to change it as we go up the rungs of the ladder. So I'm going to take cat, and if I can spell cat, then I can spell hat. If I can spell hat, I can spell mat. If I can spell mat, I can spell map. And if I can spell map, I can spell tap. So it's just changing one letter each time and just manipulating those words. It's just a really quick way. It takes like maybe 2 minutes, if that, maybe 3. Just depends on your child and how engaged they are and how involved they are in actually coming up with it. To work on manipulating these words. And then later on, you can give them a word and have them change it into a word up here, and you can try to give them a goal to get up to that word. So those are a few things that I do for literacy with emerging kids. So now I'm going to show you how to do math. Hi, okay, so now we're going to look at math and how I extend math from the calendar. So one thing that I like to do, I like to take the number from the month, the date, and work with that number. So that way it's always changing. I don't have to come up with the number until my kids get a little bit older. It's just easy. I'm like, oh, today's the 22nd, so let's do 22. So I like things that are easier for me. So anyhow, so we're going to take the number 22 and we are going to illustrate it, okay? And so that means that I'm going to show the number 22 in different ways. So when you're working with emerging kids, you want to work, you want to model and show them and have them copy you until they're able to do it on their own. So usually I do illustrating numbers. I usually try to aim for 3 to 4 different ways. Sometimes I even go up to 6 ways. It just depends on the number and kind of like how into it we are. So with the number 2, I'm going to start off. My favorite thing is doing place value. So if your kids have done place value, then you can do it. If not, you can you can build up to it. So, okay, so with number 22, one of our favorite things that we like to do is chocolate boxes. So that is our word for 10 frames. Whoops, let me fix that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we like to talk about what kind of chocolates we put in there. So with these kids, we are going to fill the order. So the order is for 22. So we're going to make chocolates. And you can actually draw circles in there or triangles or squares, however you want to do it. For me, I'm just going to put dots for right now. So anyhow, so I had to fill up 2 whole boxes to get 20. And then I had an extra box and I had to just put the extra 2 in there so that way they didn't get squished with the other ones. So here is one of my illustrations for 22 is right here with our chocolate boxes or your 10 frames. So here we go. We have that. And then we love doing piggy banks. And if you have been paying attention, well, I don't want to say paying attention, but following along on some of the stuff that I have on I have a math thing, a math map, I guess, that I showed how I teach math and how we move through it. So with the piggy bank, I personally do not choose to teach my kids all the coins at once. I start off with pennies, and actually my 4-year-old's already working with pennies. But once we get up to here and we're working on double digits and we start to work with place value, I'm going to start introducing the dimes. So for number 22, we're going to have 2 dimes and 2 pennies. I simply take a circle and I write the initial letter inside of it so that way I have my dimes and my pennies. And then later on, we do nickels and quarters. So I show them this. I show them how to do this. And then we like to do something fun, usually. So maybe it's a tree with cherries. I don't know. So let's see. That is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 20, and this little tree over here only has 2. I will tell you that there's some kids that are going to sit there and they're going to draw a tree and they're going to draw 22 cherries or 22 apples, whatever, on the tree. That's okay. It's all right if they do that. They aren't here yet where they're dividing it out into the place value. They may not technically draw a 10 frame. They may draw a huge chocolate box and they'll put 22 chocolates in it. It's, to me, after they start doing it on their own, it's okay that they're doing it like that as long as they're illustrating the number. So, especially if they have a good understanding of place value, because once they start doing it on their own, I want to give them the opportunity to show their creativity and take ownership of the material and feel like they can express their ideas of the numbers. So, so this is basically how I do this. I will say that we also introduce time concepts and other things, and when we're doing time, my kids have a little geared clock. I like it because it actually makes the hour hand move. It really just depends on where they are with that. You want to start with the hour and then you want to go to the 30 minutes, and then after that, really, if we're counting by fives, you can do to the 5-minute mark. Otherwise, you can do to the 15 and 45. And then we also have our fancy bag. If you watched my other episode, you got to already see my fancy bag of base 10 blocks. I like using base 10 blocks to illustrate, and my kids will always have the opportunity to do these things during calendar time with the numbers. So if we're building 22, we may get out our base 10 blocks and actually build them and build other numbers as well. So I don't know, if I'm hoping that this may have given you some ideas of how to extend calendar time to get into some review and like bite-sized practices, so that way you're not having to go and find lots of worksheets to do reviews and to do these things. You can easily do it with a whiteboard, marker, and some manipulatives as well. Don't feel like you have to do the whiteboard and marker all the time. You can always pull out your letter magnets, or even stamps or letter snap cubes, or the math snap cubes, any kind of manipulatives. Like, to me, like, this is the time that we're doing it. So anyhow, so if you are thinking that you have it and you like what I did and you have it down, you know what to do, that's great. I'm glad that I was able to share some stuff with you. But if you're feeling like you like the idea of doing it, but you don't really know how to go about it, I want to tell you that I have started doing some calendar books. So I've actually made them to where they are, they go along with the same theme as my calendar is. And I'm going to show you my February one, which isn't going to help you too much right now because we are almost done with February, but I will have my March ones available soon. So here we have February, and each child in the book gets their own little calendar, and they have to go through and they have to number the days, and we even labeled the holidays. So then they had to write the long date, so like how we did today is. So they have to do that here. They don't have to write today is unless you really want them to. And then the day of the week. And then here we're talking about yesterday and tomorrow and the color of their shirt. I wanted to do something that changed every day and had my kids practicing color words. So when I make these things, my kids are actually doing them. So I want to make sure that they're good. So anyhow, so with the clock, this is just a little different than the geared clock. It's like actually looking at the clock and writing down the time. So we did an analog clock here, and then they wrote the digital time up here. And then weather. We didn't even talk about weather except for that little sentence. So you can do lots of things with it. In this book, I actually had a place to graph the weather and write the weather word on it. Since this is something that you would continue to do throughout the month, I would strongly suggest doing like a vis-a-vis, like a wet eraser marker. And so here's that word ladder that I drew up here, but this was a little bit different and it gave spaces for the kids. And then this is using a word and then making words out of all the letters that are in the word. And so this is just giving you some ideas of basically some of the stuff that I do every day, but on paper. So anyhow, oh, I'm sorry. This is actually my older kids. With the emerging kids, I put ABCs in order instead of alphabetical words in order. I'm sorry, words in alphabetical orders. It was ABCs in order. And unscrambling words. So you could do something just like as simple as 3-letter CBC words, and they can unscramble them. Here's that is illustrating the number 4 ways. Fact families, which are always good. Here is expanded form and working on 10s and 1s. And a piggy bank for money. Money's always fun. And at the end is free drawing. We always wrap up our calendar time with free drawing because it's just something fun, and the kids get, 2 to 3 minutes to just sit there and just kind of, take a break. So here's our free drawing page. No, you don't get the really neat looking striped frame that my printer printed off for me. This is exclusive only to me. The one that's on the file is actually a nice pretty green. But anyways, it gives a nice space for the kids to do something. They could even draw the heart and color it in, or write down the color word that they think that the heart's going to be on this space. So my calendar books actually come with, I think, the February one came with I think 4 pages of suggestions of activities, because there's just so many things that you could do with it. So I want to make sure that I'm able to give you all those ideas. So anyhow, if you see this and you think it's fantastic and great and you can go do it, then awesome. If you're needing some help, maybe you prefer to have open and go, or you have several kids and you're just wanting to give them something, then the calendar book might be a good option as well. So anyhow, if you like this video, I would love it if you would like it, and don't forget to try to either share it or subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.